Before I do anything else, I thought I would go through how you get the exercises again. And I already have exercises in my home directory, so I'm going to remove that. Like this. Okay, now I am in the directory I'm going to work, and I am going to get these exercises that we are going to use today. And there was on the first page a link to the page that is called How to Use Tarballs, and in that I am going to get this link here, which is where I'm getting the exercises from. So I will copy this link, and the link also contains the command wget. So let's run that. And as you can see here in my directory, it now fetched this tarball, as it's called. And I'm going to untar it and also ungzip it. Tar is a way of concatenating all the files together into one package, I guess you could say. And gzip is from the gzip command, which is a compression program that is more efficient than regular zip. So I'm going to extract it. X is for extract. And let's see, that was the wrong one. And Z is to tell it that it is zipped, and I'm going to unzip it. F is it should do it to the following file. The V is just that it's going to be verbatim. It's going to throw all what it does to the screen, and you don't need to include that, but I like to do it to see that it actually does stuff. And you can see here I now got the file, the exercises directory. And I can go into that and look, and there I see I have a directory R that I'm going to go to. And in that are all the exercises that we are going to work with today. Okay, now back to packages. So our packages, as Richel just said, he showed you how to load R and how to run things, but R has a lot of packages that extends and broadens the use of R. And that is what we are going to talk about here. So R packages, well, if you want to do something with R, then maybe you think you will write the code yourself. And in some cases you have to, but in many cases, someone else already had the same need and have written the code. And so you should check if there's an R package that can do what you want. And many scientific tools are distributed as R packages. And that means you can just load them into R and then use them. And I am going to continue here to the questions for this session. That is, what is an R package? How do I find which packages and versions are available? What to do if I need other packages, and other differences between ASP.C2N, UPPMAX, and LUNARC. So the main objectives are, we will check if an R package is installed, and load and use R packages, and also briefly how to install R packages yourself. So in R, a library is a directory containing installed packages, like a library for books. Unfortunately, in the R world, you will frequently encounter confused uses of the words library and package. It's common for someone to refer to the package dplyr, for example, as a library when it is actually a package. And that is something that you will see when you Google around and look for R packages. That some will call them libraries, some will call them packages. And we might want to know where our R interpreter is searching for the packages also. And the easiest way to check is to start the interpreter and running this command here, libpath. That will give the path to where the R packages, and in this case, called libraries, are located, all the libraries. Yeah. So let's try and load R as the first thing. And you just did that. And here we are simply going to try with 412 on HPC2N and on LUNARC 421 and on UPPMAX 411. It doesn't really matter. You can pick any one. This is just to be consistent and see that you're getting the same. And as you can see here also, and as Richelle mentioned, there are prerequisites on HPC2N and LUNARC before you load the R module. So I am going to load GCC first. And then I'm going to load OpenMPI. As you can see, you can load it all on one line, or you can load it one by one. It's often easier to load it on one line, but one advantage to loading it one at a time is that if you start writing, say for instance, OpenMPI or some other module, it will, when you hit tab, it will autocomplete to the compatible versions that are installed. And now here I will autocomplete and see which R versions are compatible with this GCC version. So I'm getting this here. And I'm waiting for it to load. Good. And now I will start R. And inside R, I will do .libpaths. By the way, I can see that the dot has fallen out up here. Anyway, here it shows you where the R packages are installed. And this is the one that is the default one. This one will exist if you have installed anything to R yourself, which I have. That is why there's one here. Let's try to do the same thing on UPPMAX. And I suggest that you also do this and try it out. If you already have R loaded from the last session, then you can just go into R and write .libpaths and remember the parenthesis and remember the starting dot. And you see here on Rackham, this is in UPPMAX, I just load the R module without any prerequisites, and it tells us also that most packages are already included. And here I haven't installed any R packages. And again, let's do it here on LUNARC. Let's see which ones we need. GCC 1130, MPI 414, R421. And here I have installed packages. Okay. So, pre-installed package libraries. Well, each of the centers and also the other centers in Sweden and elsewhere will have many pre-installed packages. On HPC2N, most of them come with R module. So when you have loaded R and its prerequisites, you can already access most of them. Many more are in the R bundle bioconductor. However, note that if you go to newer versions of R, and that is newer than 4.2 something, then the packages on CRAN are not included with R anymore, but they are in the module R bundle CRAN. You can always do module spider, and the module in case, like our bundle CRAN here, /version to check for prerequisites, just as usual. On UPPMAX, the module R packages is a package containing almost all packages in CRAN and bioconductor repositories. There is already a lot of them. There is some at least installed with R, but with R packages, you get basically everything in CRAN and bioconductor. So, and there are also some other R packages not on CRAN and bioconductor installed, for instance, hosted on GitHub, GitLab, or elsewhere. And that is one thing also. There are also packages there. So there are some that have not yet been included in CRAN or bioconductor for one reason or another. And there are other ways to install and get those. And you can find more about that down here in the more about R packages, because I'm going to focus on those that are in CRAN. So on LUNARC, most of the R packages come with the R module, so there's nothing else you need to do there in general. Okay, how do you then check if a package is installed? Again, there are several ways to do so, and they are mentioned also here in more about R packages. But the absolutely simplest way of doing it is to see if you can load it within R. And I suggest to do it that way because that is the most efficient way. And we could try and do that. I could see if, for instance, this package pillar is here. So I will try if I can load it. And it was there. Let's try the same thing on Rakam. There it was not there. Let's try go out. And then I am going to load the R packages module that is mentioned here. And let's see which version it suggests. There are quite many. Let's go with this one. And then I will just do ML and show you what we have loaded here. Let's start R again. And then try if we can load the library or the package before. And now it's there. Let's try it on Cosmos. I cannot spell today, clearly. And that was there. So when we go to the exercises here, then you should try and do exactly this, where you should go into R, make sure you have loaded the module, and then run R, start R with capital R, and then check if the library, if the packages pillar and caret are installed. And you can test that on both on whatever center you are, UPPMAX, HPC2N, or LUNARC. There are descriptions of it here. And remember on UPPMAX, if it turns out it's not installed, which it very clearly did, then load the R packages module. But it's all described here, and let's take some time to go through this. Let's take 5 minutes and see if you all can do this. So everyone get to do this? Okay, I am going to continue then. Good, thank you. So next section is about installing your own packages, because sometimes you do need packages that are not installed. And the solution is to install your own packages. And most likely they come from CRAN, because they have a very large number of packages. CRAN is the comprehensive R archive network, but they don't have quite everything. And you may find something on GitHub or on RForge. And in this example here, that I'm going to do here, I will look at installing R packages with automatic download and also with manual download. It's also possible to do all this from inside of RStudio. There will be more talk about using RStudio later today. So if you want to learn about how to install R packages in a different way than these, then again, I put some more information here in this more about R packages. So first, we need to create a place for our own installed packages to be in and also to tell R where to find them. This initial setup only needs to be done once, but you need to do it once for each of the R version you use. So I'm going to quit R here on each of the centers. Like this. R will look in this directory here. $home is an environment variable that points to your home directory. And under that, you will have the .r environ file. And that is where that's why R will check for your environment. And it will be created the first time you start R. And if it's not, you can create it with this command here. Touch is a Linux command that creates a file. But I'm going to see if I have it in my home directory. So let's try do $home and then .r environ. And there is indeed such a file. ls-l is long format, and also you can add a in order to see files that normally are hidden, like dot files. But if you look directly for a file, it will show it to you. But let's try run it also on Cosmos. There it also exists for me. And I also have it at HPC2N because I have started R in each of the places. Okay, so let's assume you have chosen a place to put your R packages. And that could be anywhere. I mean, you could put it under your home directory. And if you're on Cosmos, you should do that because the home directory there is pretty large. But if you're on UPPMAX or on HPC2N, you might want to put the project storage, put it in project storage instead, because if you install many things to R, it might be that this directory takes up quite a lot of space. And there is only 25 gigabyte in the home directory on HPC2N, for instance, whereas there is 100 on Cosmos. So if you haven't yet installed any packages to R yourself, then this environment file here is empty. And you can update it by just running this command here. And what this command does is that it echoes whatever you write to the screen. And this arrow here throws this output into something, in this case, the .r environ file in your home directory. This tilde, this is also another way of saying $home or saying your home directory. And it is here as well. There is one you need for each of the versions of R you are using. And the percentage large V, capital V, will contain the version of the ARP that you have loaded. So if you do this, it will know to put the right version in here. So let's see if I have anything in this file here. I do. I actually have exactly this here in it. And this you will have to do before you install packages. But there is an example where you go through all of this, and we're going to do that in a very short while. So I have this here. And VI is an editor command. I would suggest that if you don't use VI in general, if you haven't used it before, use Nano instead, since it's a much friendlier editor. I'm just going to see if I also have it on Cosmos. There also I have something. And I forgot I was in Nano. In Nano, when you exit, you hold down Control and press X. This hat here in front means hold down Control while you push this letter to do whatever. I mean, so Control X means that you will exit it. If you modify the buffer, it will ask to save it. If it is a new file, it can also ask what you want to call it. But in this case, I don't want to save it because I don't want to change anything. Okay, so if the file is not empty, you could have gone into it like this, and you could edit it and make sure this line here is there, rlibs user. So, but it's fine. But you will probably have to do this. Okay. And again, if you have to do it yourself, just make sure it is your username that is here. But this command up here will do it for you. Okay, so for each of the versions of R you are using, you now need to create a directory that matches the pattern used in R environment to store the packages in. And if it's for R version 4.1.1, then you would create such a directory here. And I am now going to do that, if I haven't already, which I may have, in which case it will fail now. I didn't have. Good. So this is on UPPMAX, because that's where we're using 4.1.1, but just change it to whatever version you are working in at this point. On HPC2N, it could be 4.1.2, it could be 4.2.1, it could be whatever you're using, and the same on Cosmos. Okay. If you're installing many R packages, as I said, you may instead want to put it in your project storage. And that means, and this is if you're on UPPMAX or HPC2N, you would go into this file and you would do what I have done here. And actually that I did a year ago, where it was called something different. So this is the directory that we have for project storage on UPPMAX. This is the directory I named on the project storage to use, and this is where I want to put my R packages. So if this is what you have done, then you would instead need to change this here to the project storage. Like this, for instance. But if you're only going to install this one thing, then just put it in your home directory. It's probably easiest. Okay, so to install things from CRAN, well, there is a list of packages in CRAN here. You can look at that and see if there's something you want to install which is not already installed. And you will also install from a specific repo. And you should choose a location close to where you are. And the one that is close to here and to everywhere here is actually this one here. That is the one that you would be using if you're in Sweden. But you can install them from the command line or from inside of R. If you're inside of R, you just say install.packages and then in a parenthesis, the package with apostrophes around, comma, repos equals this repo here. And if you're on the command line, you would instead run this command here. So let's try and install the R package Nugget. And in a moment when I have stopped talking, you will get to try this yourself. So you load R, any prerequisites, possibly R bundle bioconductor if you need packages from that, or R packages definitely if you are running on UPPMAX. Then you go either and do it from the command line or you do it from inside of R. Try either you want to. And let's just try and do this. And I am going to check that I have R packages installed, loaded. So if you're on UPPMAX, load, do ml R packages 411. It will load the packages and it will load R. Then after that, go and make sure you, if you have already started R, you will have the .r environment file, and you can just do this line here, and it will put this line for where you put the packages inside your R environment package file. And then when you have done that, go and create this directory and make sure this is the version that you are using on that system. It's 411 on UPPMAX. It is probably 421 on Cosmos and probably 412 on HPC2N. When you have done that, go into R, run this, or run this from the command line. The example here should work at all the centers, this one here. So I will go to R and I will copy this. And then let's see what it does, because now it should install the package nuggets. And you can see it takes it from this repository here. It is the Academic Computer Club in Umeå that is having this repository for CRAN. And it is, as far as I know, the only one in Sweden. It will take a little while, so I suggest that you try and do this. Okay, I will continue. And I hope people were able to do this, but otherwise I'm going to write the solution down in the Q&A document during the lunch break, because I would like to get through the isolated environments with R in before the lunch, because, well, you need your lunch break. Anyway, these are places to look for R packages. And you can check the key points for this is you can check for installed packages from inside R with installed packages, or just say library and check if something is installed. Installation of R packages you can do from inside R or from the command line. CRAN has most packages. Some are on GitHub also, and some other places. I'm not going to talk about installing packages on Bianca, because they likely are already there in Conda repositories, or you will have to use a command called warf. And well, Bianca is special, and there's already a course for that. So if you have the extra time, you can try and install a package again here and normalize and BGLR. And there's an example here, and there's also a solution.